On Sunday, voters in Brazil will head to the polls in a presidential runoff election, the impact of which could have a huge significance for the rainforest. Researchers are racing to gather data and to protect the ecosystem. Our Susan Ormiston was recently reporting out of the Amazon. She took us on a trip there. She covered the election, and she visited Camp 41. As you'll see, it's a remote, bare-bones research station, home to field researchers who make the case the world cannot afford to lose more of the rainforest.
We're climbing with a team of Amazonian scientists, passionate about the rainforest and worried about its future.
It's early. It's about 6:30. We came here early to go up 40 meters to the top of this research tower, 220 steps, and we're going up to see something pretty spectacular.
To really understand its magnitude, you have to see the forest from above. And as the sun rises higher, that's where we're headed.
Now, listen, we have to pick up this story. Look who's with us, our international climate correspondent, Susan Ormiston, back in Washington after that extraordinary reporting adventure. Susan, good morning, number one. Welcome. Listen, the upcoming runoff, you have Lula and Jair Bolsonaro in a runoff on Sunday. Why is this vote so critical?
Yeah, you know, there's lots of issues in Brazil, rising inflation, crime, poverty, that's all on the ballot. But so is the Amazon, the world's largest rainforest, because the winner on Sunday will determine what direction the Amazon will take. Will there be more conservation or more development? And many Brazilians are deeply concerned about the outcome. And as you saw, we went way up over the canopy, that carpet of green stretching as far as you can see. You know, Heather, it's massive. The Amazon is 2/3 the area of Canada, roughly speaking. Just spectacular, but also, many say, endangered. And back on terra firma, there's this intense political battle for the soul of Brazil. You have this one candidate, the incumbent President Jair Bolsonaro, who's been clear that agribusiness and cattle ranching is critical to Brazil's economic future. But in the process, he's weakened laws protecting that forest, scoffed that it's in any way endangered, and his harshest critics accuse him of being a climate denier and fear what will happen if he wins a second term. Already, deforestation has risen 73% in his 4 years in office. And on the other side, as you said, a former candidate widely known as Lula, who has promised to clamp down on illegal land grabs, said not one more forest tree needs to be felled, and has an ear to the changing politics around climate and Brazil's role in it, Heather.
Susan, as you were there and speaking to researchers and to environmentalists, of course, we call the Amazon the lungs of the planet, or the lungs of the earth. What are they saying could happen if the rules and regulations continue to relax?
Yeah, you know, they're seeing changes already, and they're saying to us that if much more of the Amazon is cut, cleared, large parts may turn to savanna, so no rainforest in those areas at all. Also, that the large amounts, massive amounts of carbon stored in the trees, the equivalent, some say, of 4 to 5 years of emissions, that carbon will be released once those trees are cut, which would add to climate warming, which is what the world, of course, is trying desperately to avoid.
Susan, I'm intrigued by Camp 41. We looked at some pictures of that. Tell me a little bit more. You were camping out there. What did you find? What was the experience like?
Well, it was hard to get to, you know, 2 hours on a really rutted. I've been on a lot of roads, Heather. This was the worst road I've been on, 2 hours to cover 40 kilometers. We spent a couple of days there sleeping in hammocks with the research scientists who come and go from this base camp, very rudimentary. It was established in the 1970s, and we discovered with them some fascinating research deep in the forest. You know, imagine a ring of huge towers stretching 30 to 40 meters up above the canopy. In the future, they'll pump high levels of CO2 on these trees to see how the Amazon will respond in the future. In effect, simulating conditions that they expect 2 decades from now. It's their way of predicting the future, what changes will happen to the forest, and without waiting 20 years. So Brazilians go to the polls on Sunday. The Amazon is on their minds. So is the economy, and we'll be reporting on Sunday on the impact. But tonight we'll tell you more and show you more about the world's largest rainforest.
Listen, I'm staying tuned. So on the National tonight, Susan Ormiston's feature report. Thank you very much. Our international climate correspondent, Susan Ormiston in Washington.